Welcome back. Second concerto today. That's why I'm wearing the same shirt as the earlier one, just in case you're thinking I was a bit stinky. And I'm still massively in need of a haircut. It'd be interesting to see how my hair's grown actually if you go back to the beginning of these videos, back down at the beginning of lockdown, because tell you what, it's getting a bit unruly at the moment. And I'm not about to let Camilla loose with the scissors on my head. Just don't trust her at all. Anyway, back to more erudite matters. Vivaldi, our Vivaldi edit. So we are looking at the fourth concerto from the Opus 12. Opus 12 published 1729. It was his last. Publication of concertos. He said that he could make more money selling concertos individually than he could if he sent them up to Amsterdam to be printed. Certainly, there's a letter between Edward Holdsworth, who was an English agent working in Italy. Who was working for Charles Jennings, the guy that wrote the libretto for the Messiah, or rather arranged the libretto for the Messiah, because obviously it's just stuff out of the Bible, so it was obviously God that wrote that. So Jennings asked Holdsworth to get hold of some Vivaldi concertos. So Holdsworth went to Venice, had a meeting with Vivaldi, and wrote back to Jennings. The letter still survives. And he says, I wasn't going to buy it. I had a meeting with Vivaldi today, but he wants a guinea per concerto. That's quite a lot of money. So I wasn't prepared to let you be robbed in broad daylight like that. So I didn't buy anything. He did later, after Vivaldi's death and after Ottoboni's death, he, of course, obtained a huge chunk of the Ottoboni library, which had a number of Vivaldi autographs, and also the manuscript version of the Four Seasons, which is all now in Manchester's Henry Watson Library. Back to Opus 12. I think there's another possible reason why Vivaldi stopped having his concertos printed, and that's because they were doing such a daft job of engraving the concerto. In the first concerto, for instance, that we looked at yesterday or the day before, in G minor, there's a bar missing from the solo part, from the viola part in the last movement. And the thing is, if you don't supply a score, they only worked with parts. Scores only really started to be provided with printed music a little bit later than this. If there's no score, you have no idea. If you're just working from separate parts, it's like the blind leading the blind. Nobody has any idea whose part's gone wrong. So you are in the hands of the engravers to get it right. You know, if you're gonna, I'm guessing that these back then were quite costly to produce. And the number of wrong notes and incorrect accidentals and incorrect figures in the bass part as well. It's not rocket science, guys. You just get it right. Anyway, so I do wonder whether that might have been another reason for Vivaldi saying, not going back to that bunch of cowboys again. I'll just do my own thing. That said, it's a brilliant collection, isn't it? So, it's, again, another quality concerto. This one in C major, number 4, RV 173. As I said yesterday, this concerto starts with a very stately opening, Largo e spiccato, which is, again, one of the reasons which makes me think this might be intended for the church. And then you get this superb ritornello. Interestingly, the allegro tempo marking for the ritornello only I have taken. There's a manuscript in Sweden. It doesn't. There's no tempo marking in any of the part books here, but it's kind of allegro. But I do kind of find it interesting that it's not actually in the print. Of course, it could be another one of the engraver's errors, but we don't know. So. really, really sunny movement. I find it interesting that yesterday we had, earlier today when we were looking at the sixth concerto, we had a bit where the basses and the violas descend and the violins kind of stay at the same. It's a sort of technique that Vivaldi uses increasingly, sort of in the 1720s. Get it here again, twice, no less. There you go. So you get it there, and then you get it here. Vivaldi obviously thought he was onto a winner with this one, considering how often this kind of thing crops up in the Opus in the Opus 12. Again, you get some really, really quality solos. Here's one. I mean, this whole idea of the upper strings, just violas and violins accompanying the solos, you get it in anything he writes with the soloist, be it instrumental or vocal. It's just so Vivaldi. He was the guy that he really went to town with this, and people like Brescianello copied it very, very, very successfully. But I mean, it's such a Vivaldian thing. I mean, and it's such a stroke of genius. Where you have a section with just continuo and solo violin, and there's again, this is another Vivaldian thing that I like very much, where you're going along in the bass, bom bom bim bom bim bom bom bop, and then there's no downbeat. I mean, that is so Vivaldi. And then so it's like the bottom drops out of your world, and then you get this sort of ethereal upper string texture. It's just brilliant. Again, slow movement. I mean, doesn't he do him well? Let's see. I can't remember what tempo I said. Sort of ostinato, two violins. And this is another thing that people go, oh, yeah, Vivaldi's all the same. Again, I said yesterday about Vivaldi always having the last laugh. This kind of ostinato, if you were to sit and listen to this piece of music, you would say, oh, it's the same all the way through. It isn't, though. It is not all the same all the way through. He tinkers with the direction sometimes, and to the human. If you're listening to it for the first time, you don't particularly notice. I mean, it's total genius. And then just a really, really sunny finale. If I can find a right tempo for it. How's about this? Let's just go a little bit quicker than that. There we go. So there you go. It's just great. It's a stunning collection of concertos. I think we might finish this next week, actually. If anybody's got a copy of the facsimile of the original print of the Opus 11 in PDF, can you possibly get in touch with me, please? Because I'm having I'm probably going to have to go to write to a library very nicely and ask them if they can PDF it to me. It's the only one I don't have. But I mean, I find it's typical of Vivaldi's fortunes, really, that people go, oh yeah, okay, well, we'll do the Opus 3, and then we might do the Opus. Well, we've obviously got to do the Opus 8 because that's got the 4 seasons in it, and then we kind of lose interest. So things like, so Opus 6 doesn't really get much of a look. I'm not sure whether Opus 6 was put together by Vivaldi himself or not. Opus 7 doesn't really get much of a look in, but I mean, there's some really duff works in there that aren't by Vivaldi because he had nothing to do with its publication. And then Opus 9, Opus 9 is what a cracking set that is, but it doesn't get done that much. And then Opus 10, well, that's for flute players, and we don't bother with much with that. And then Opus 11 and Opus 12 that people hardly know exist. Such a shame, really, isn't it? Anyway, what a great guy. Anyway, have a good weekend, and I'll see you next week. And this one, 9.5.